Unique Pathways is sponsored by Piedmont Realty Holdings, building better together. Bellaterra Landscaping and Hardscaping Services. ECS Prosthetics, we come to you. Jeff Burton Consulting, charting your path to a successful outcome. Major League Mindset, results on and off the field. Blue Sky Property Management, own your experience. BSN Sports, the heart of the game. And by Croze Sports, community, family, and sports.
Welcome back into another episode of Unique Pathways presented by H3 Sports, hosted by myself, Ben Rekosh. Today we have a very, very, very special guest, Eric Jones Jr. Eric is a champion in 2017 with the Charlottesville Tom Sox in the Valley Baseball League, a champion in 2017 of the Atlantic 10 baseball tournament with the Davidson Wildcats, Minnesota Twins, Seattle Mariners minor league player and bullpen catcher, and currently a member of the Savannah Bananas. So Eric, my first question to you is kind of what's it like being a part of the Savannah Bananas? Is it all that's hyped up to be on social media? Kind of what's the experience of being able to foster a new generation of baseball fans all across the country now?
Yeah, being with also thanks for having me on. Super stoked to be here. But being with Savannah Bananas is an experience unlike anything else. The in-person experience at the games is really second to none. It's kind of like almost like being at a concert where everybody's going crazy the entire time. The games are only 2 hours, so it's really like packed with energy and excitement. The in-person experience absolutely lives up to the hype of everything you see online and more, I would say, because you're just not able to capture truly how electric every game is. And the rules are set up to where every game basically comes down to the wire. The ninth inning is always really high stakes and just nerve-wracking and exciting. So the games absolutely live up to the hype. The experience as a player is really, really cool because so many people come to those games and it's tough to get tickets, so they really appreciate being there. And we have lots of stuff set up to where they get to interact with you as a as a player, and they're really appreciative of those moments. And so you get to have these really cool one-on-one interactions with other fans, and it's really unlike anything else I've experienced in the baseball world. And I'm really grateful to get to be a part of it. And was there a last piece of that?
No, I was just kind of mentioning how you're able to bring up a new generation of baseball fans and sports fans into something that kind of fits really well into the modern culture. So I kind of wanted to get your perspective on that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that we really pride ourselves on, is trying to appeal to that younger audience and kind of bring back the love of baseball to some of those fans that maybe aren't as interested in traditional baseball anymore. So we kind of offer a different take on the game, one that's really fast paced, one that's tailored to kind of short attention span generation that's coming up, and trying to appeal to really everybody. So if you come to a Savannah Bananas game, it's got something for everybody. It's got something for, guys, girls, old and young, people that like baseball, people who don't like baseball. So it really kind of hits every demographic. And, there's nothing better than having people say that, they stopped playing baseball and now they're playing baseball again, or that, they've had their love of baseball renewed. So that's something that we pride ourselves on, and just enjoying that kind of like intermediary for people back into baseball potentially.
Yeah, that's really cool. You mentioned it being almost a concert-like atmosphere on a game day. What's the process day to day? Are there rehearsals like it's a theater production, or are there practices like you're taking fungos in the infield? What's it like kind of before games, and then after games?
Yeah, so it's a full day leading up to every game. We do have both. We have rehearsal where we learn all the entertainment pieces for the day. So every time a run scores, we have kind of like a scripted celebration that's going to occur. And then players will have individual walk-ups. So kind of like musical or theatrical pieces like leading up into their at-bats. So we
Mm-hmm.
practice those. And then any other sort of like miscellaneous pieces that they want to put together either for home runs or sometimes strikeouts. We always have like a planned dance every game in the third inning. So the middle infield learns that, and they try to get together like kind of content pieces. So things that you'll
Yeah.
see on social media, all those things get rehearsed before the game. Kind of like first thing, have lunch, get to the field, go over those, and then we go into baseball. So take traditional batting practice, take traditional ground balls, but while you're doing ground balls, the fielders are working on trick plays.
Huh.
So trying to do something unique with the ball, trying to dribble it between the legs, trying to
Hmm.
dribble it around the back, flip it up to yourself, spin around, any creative way that you can still kind of fluidly get the out. The fielders are trying to do everything they can to bring a flourish to the game and catch eyes and make highlights.
That's really cool. Yeah.
It's fun to yeah to
Yeah.
work on those things.
That's almost like having a second element of practice. Normally in baseball, you just have batting practice, but now you have two things that you have to do. I want to get into your journey a little bit, and there's a lot to get to, obviously, but I do want to get into some of your upbringing. So I read that your grandfather played for the San Francisco Giants, and your uncle
Mhm.
was also an All-American tennis player at UNC. So kind of what was your athletic journey like growing up in Charlotte?
Yeah, so I always loved baseball. Um, the first season I played was when I was 7. I played like a little bit of soccer before that, but didn't really have that like traditional or like I wasn't just like always in sports as a child. Always loved baseball. So kept playing that. Played basketball when I was young. Got into
Yeah.
football in middle school. Um, so it was really baseball and football kind of through the formative years, some basketball, and then basketball kind of ended early around middle school, and football ended after my sophomore year of high school. Decided just to focus on baseball,
Hmm.
but a lot of just playing in the yard with the neighbors, and me and my dad would go practice baseball, and I had friends that played baseball, and that was it. Just really playing with the friends and playing different travel teams, traveling around. But yeah, it was always baseball for me. That was what I was focused on.
Yeah, so I mentioned that your grandfather was a major league player. Were you able to
Mhm.
kind of take a lot from him and have any cool stories of what he told you growing up?
Yeah, so he didn't make majors. He played,
Okay.
I think, through double the Giants. He got drafted to go to the military in the middle of his career,
Hmm.
um, and played several years in the minor leagues, and then wanted to finish his education, so went back to school, became a teacher. Um, but he really taught me a lot about baseball and just life in general. We played baseball, or he would take me out to golf and talk about stories of different teammates that he played with and
Yeah.
some of those kind of life experiences that he had. Um, and then, yeah, my uncle being a All-American tennis player, getting to play professional, definitely just like instilled that kind of work ethic and how if you want to be good at something, you kind of have to obsess over it and um, practice all the time and outwork everybody. And my dad played football and tennis in high school, really
Okay.
good. And uh, yeah, so they just taught me early like what it takes to separate yourselves, separate yourself to get to that next level and to get to continue to play at each level. It takes, more and more work and dedication. And so I had a strong like athletic background around me, um, and some motivation and accountability where, if I
Yeah.
wasn't doing the things that were gonna take me to that next level, they made sure that like I knew that and motivated me to keep going.
That's really cool. And then I want to get into sort of your high school experience a little bit. So at one point in your senior season, you were ranked as the number 3 catcher in North Carolina. You were an All-American honorable mention. So you had all these accolades. I want to know a little bit about why was Davidson the ultimate decision for you to continue your athletic and academic career?
Yeah, it definitely kind of my career, like through high school, like coming into high school, didn't necessarily like have any prospect status or anything. Um, was working hard, was at a private school in North Carolina, made varsity as a freshman, got to play, had pretty good year, and then that's my sophomore year, played second base on that team. It kind of like established myself as um, one of the better players in the area.
Mm-hmm.
Starting to grow more. I was never like a fast developer. So that and also playing football helped me a lot. So I started kind of gaining a little bit of size and strength. And started to get a little bit of attention from schools. And then that junior year, I transferred to the public high school in the area, and which had a really good baseball program. And then started to kind of get some notoriety, playing mainly second and third base. Um, and so recruiting kind of picked up that
Yeah.
summer a little bit. I still wasn't getting, like, I had aspirations of, playing at the best schools in the country and just wanted to push my baseball career, you know, to its heights and do the best I could for my development as a player and like potential to continue to play after college. Um, my summer after my junior year, I got hit in the eye with a ball while I was in the dugout. So
I
they were in
saw a
the
brutal
bullpen.
picture of that on Instagram. Wow.
Yeah, so right in the eye, broke my eye socket. Um, and that was like during the North Carolina State games, which was big recruiting event, talking to some schools and stuff,
Uh-huh.
and missed the perfect game like event the next week because of that. So that was like 3 weeks to 4 weeks of being out that summer. And I like rushed to get out there as soon as possible after it, and just kind of
Yeah.
confront the injury head on, get back out there. I knew I didn't have time to like milk it or time to waste because I was trying to get recruited and wanted to play. And so I went to like a showcase, um, because of that. And that was the first time Davidson saw me, and I played good there. And the assistant coach really liked me. And then the next week, I went to Wake Forest camp, and Wake Forest liked me. They said they were going to offer me. Uh, and I get a call the next week that they're not going to offer me anymore and that it's just a
Mm.
walk-on spot. And the Davidson coach was at that camp too and gave me a call, and he was like, "Hey, you got to come work out for our head coach. Like, we really like you. We think that you could be great here." And so I went up to Davidson for a weekend and worked out for the coach and stayed on campus and had a former teammate that I played with at my first high school that was at school there now. And so I stayed with him, had a good trip and heard good reviews, and um, kind of had encouragement from my family that like the mix of academics and baseball was going to be really good and that it would set me up well for whatever I wanted to do after that. And yeah, that was going into my senior year, and just kind of made sense that that was going to be a good fit. And so that's kind of how that process went. yeah, recruiting's tough, I think, for anybody. Definitely like mix some injuries in. And so I'm grateful that I got to stay close to home and play Division I baseball at a good school and get a good education and
Yeah.
make some lifelong friends and build that network.
Yeah, that's awesome. There are two things that stick out to me about that story you just told. First of all, I want to know, what was your football game like? Were you a receiver, a running back? What were you like on the gridiron?
Yeah, so when I started playing football, it was like all interior linemen. So
Okay.
um like center and defensive tackle. I wasn't like a big kid, but I would get off the ball quick and could pop people on the line and get into the backfield on defense and kind of slip through the cracks. Um, I always had like a quick get off the ball, so that helped me on offense too, just being able to block. And then as I got a little older, I got a little faster, so I kind of started moving out. So by the end of my career, I was playing tight end and defensive end. And defensive end was kind of my best position because I had that get off the ball and was really good pass rusher, could get around the tackles. Um, Never had like
Yeah.
huge size um, to run block, but always had good hands catching the ball too. So defensive end was kind of the most fun though, because I get sacks, or if they try to swing the ball out wide on a run or something, I could get in the backfield and make some tackles. So that was
That's
fun though.
awesome.
I love
Yeah.
playing football, and I think that if I was like a little bit bigger early, maybe I could have like focused on that. But I always just loved baseball, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun
So
though.
and the second point I wanted to make, and if you're watching on YouTube, you're probably seeing a picture of this right now, but it was that brutal eye injury.
Hmm.
So that picture, when I saw it, I almost visibly got sick. So what was the injury? What was the recovery process like? Kind of walk us through step by step what happened there.
So yeah, in the dugout during like the biggest recruiting event of the summer, like an all-star type deal for all the regions in North Carolina, put teams together to
Yeah.
compete against each other in front of scouts, and guy that's throwing like close to 100 miles an hour in the bullpen, warming up, doesn't have good control. We got like not even a real catcher trying to catch him in the bullpen and sails it, goes right into the dugout. The bullpen is right on the first baseline, so it leads
Uh-huh.
right into the dugout. And yeah, I had just finished playing in the game and was like actually grabbing my stuff to go to the bullpen. So I grabbed it and like looked over and just hit me right in the face, looked right into it. And um, so yeah, I get rushed to the hospital, and the doctors are like, we don't know what the status of your eye is because we can't get to it because it's so swollen. So you're gonna have to wait for the swelling to go down. And eventually was able to like get to the eye, and everything was okay with my eye. Um, so I just had like broken bones around my eye, like the orbital eye socket. And so I basically was just chilling for a week or two. And then as soon as I was able to like start moving, um, I basically was just doing everything I could to like speed the recovery up and then eventually start lifting weights. Um, but it was like a pressure thing that were like, you can't, like the pressure of your
Yeah.
head and sinuses and eye socket, they're like, you can't really like exert yourself or you're gonna risk like putting too much pressure
Huh.
there. So I think I was cleared to get back out there in like 3 to 4 weeks. Didn't require surgery. And like I wore like protective goggles for like my first game, first couple
Hmm.
of innings, and then I was like, if I get hit again, it's just like not meant to be. But I'm not gonna wear these goggles out here because they make me feel stupid, and it just didn't feel comfortable in my face. So it was a little bit of like, I had to realize like if I was going to go back out there, I couldn't be out there fearfully, and
Yeah.
I couldn't worry about what was going to happen or um, worry about getting injured again, and just kind of like, let it be however it's going to be and do my best and, you know, play courageously out there. And I was able to kind of get back in it, not really miss too much of a stride, but I do think that that was a big injury. Um, it just like has other effects on you. And I still
Yeah.
got like a scar like under my eye, and like um, sometimes like my sinus feels a little weird over here. So um, even though like I was able to get back out there and it didn't really
Yeah.
like affect me too much, it still like kind of halted that development like a little bit
Yeah.
and took me out of a really big recruiting period and kind of like took a little dip back on like some momentum I had going to like try to keep pushing my career.
That's a brutal story, and I mean, glad for everyone that you're all better, and years later now you don't really feel many effects. There's no real way to move on from that, but I do want to move on from that. So I mentioned at the top of the show that 2017 was a big year for you. First thing that happened was Davidson winning the A10 tournament in St. Louis, getting to the NCAA tournament, and then eventually taking the Chapel Hill Regional. But to start it off, kind of what was it like to win the A10 tournament in St. Louis as sixth seed?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was so we almost didn't make it into the A10 tournament that year. So we were the sixth seed. It come down on the last weekend of the season. We were playing in University of Massachusetts, and we kind of had an up and down season all year. We had a really good lineup, and the pitching had been a little bit inconsistent. So we were kind of like around 500 on the season. Um, and we were down. We had to, I think, win two out of three
Mm-hmm.
um, that weekend in Massachusetts, and we lost the first game, and we're down the second game, and then put together like a 5-run rally to come back and win. Won the next game, so we ended up kind of making it into the tournament, and then with guys just like really get hot. We had a player who had hit no home runs on the season, hit 5 home runs in the tournament.
Wow.
Yeah, and I hit like 500 or even better in that tournament. I think I'd hit like set a record for hits in that A10 tournament. Um, and we had a pitcher kind of put the team on his back a little bit and uh, have some really good starts and then pitch some high leverage situations at the end of the game. Um, and everything just kind of clicked. We always had been like a tight knit team, and we were just kind of playing fearless and dangerous because we had made it into the tournament and just rode that momentum and enjoyed being around each other. And
Yeah.
um, it's kind of, I think, anytime, especially in college baseball, it's like it's so much about that momentum and who's the hot team and who's got kind of thing going for them on their side. So um, we beat some teams with some good players and played some good ball, and then rode that into the regional in Chapel Hill, and even just like winning that A10 tournament, like people were really excited on Davidson's campus and just kind of throughout the Davidson community because they'd never won conference tournament before.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was the first NCAA tournament appearance, so everybody was really happy, just in general. And then we had already played North Carolina before and actually had a lead on them in the eighth and ninth inning of the game, and had ended up blowing the game. Uh, and so we knew that we could match up with them and play them, and felt like kind of our hitters were on par better with their hitters. And um, we had some really great pitching performances in that regional. And that first game, we put up 6 runs on future number one or first round draft pick pitching the major leagues now. And that kind of just gave us a ton of confidence. Won that game. Won the next game against Florida Gulf Coast that I played really good, had some hits and like game-winning RBI. And then in the championship game, we won that 2-1. So we won both of those games. So we won the first game 8-4. We won the next 2 games 2-1, which we didn't hardly have any games the entire season where the other team only scored 1 run. So the pitching really stepped up when it mattered most. And that was kind of the difference that allowed us to win that regional. And that was some of the most fun I had ever had, just because everybody around me in the community was so excited.
Yeah.
And, we felt like we were kind of realizing the potential of the team and had a ton of momentum going and had a really strong team and starting to get some recognition for how good we were. And then we took that into Texas A&M Super Regional, and we're just, a couple plays away from winning that thing. Really, we ended up losing in 15 innings.
Wow.
The first game, longest game 1 of a Super Regional ever. And again, a couple plays that could have gone the other way. And then we had a lead in the 8th in game 2 and ended up giving that lead up and ended up losing another tight game in game 2. But yeah, we were just a couple plays from making the College World Series. And all in all, the entire run, though, was just really a great run and really big for the community. And some of the most fun I've ever had playing, just because the stakes were high and we played well. And it was my first kind of experience to like pressure on that level.
Yeah.
And definitely like helped me grow as a player in person and appreciate like the big moments. And yeah, just special. And kind of it made like choosing Davidson feel like validated. And just knowing that we could compete with any team in the country, knowing that like individually, like I could play with any player in the country.
That's really cool. And that's a good segue into kind of my next topic here. Using that team momentum through yourself, in that you joined the Tom Sox midway through the summer after you finished this regional and super regional run. That team won the perfect game team of the year. A couple of legendary players on that team, Michael Wolanski, Vinny Pasquantino. You only lost 1 game in the playoffs. So looking back, kind of what do you take most away from your experience there with the Charlottesville Tom Sox?
My experience with the Tom Sox was really great. Came right in off of that super regional run. Came with my teammate, shortstop Max Pazin. So they set us up with a great host family, the Sorensens, and really had an amazing summer. Just living in Charlottesville, loved being in the mountains. Yeah, just really everything was top notch. We had people taking care of us at the field. We had good food when we got home from the fields. Had a really good team unit, great group of guys that made coming to the ballpark fun and that played hard, and just a really good team assembled, really. You had some guys from some small schools that were great players, and just a well-assembled team, really.
Yeah.
Just solid all the way across.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you off. My follow-up kind of
Go ahead.
is like, what have you seen about the importance of summer baseball, both as a player and as a person, kind of last minute, I wouldn't say last minute, but really quickly having to mesh with all these teammates that you've never met before. And then all of a sudden you're ranked as the best team in America. You go on to win the first championship in franchise history, X, Y, and Z type of accolades. So kind of what do you take away from that in a larger perspective?
Yeah, I think that summer baseball is really the closest like taste of professional baseball that you can get because you're playing close to every day. You have to show up to the ballpark every day, play a game the night before, show up, do your practice, get your workouts in, get ready to play again. So you don't really get that experience in college too much because you're only playing 3 to 4 games a week and you have classes and you have other things to do and think about. Whereas when you go to summer baseball now, it's like baseball is kind of your job, like full time. And I think that like for college kids, there can kind of be some resistance to that a little bit just because you're not used to that. But if you
Yeah.
really like buy in and understand that like this is what you're doing every day, all the time, and it's your job to play and then recover and get ready to play again. Um, it can be a really amazing experience and it can really kind of show you whether or not you want to play professional baseball. And then when you got a group of guys that are kind of bought into doing it together and going through the grind of the everyday process and um, playing together, working hard together, then you can kind of get a really special thing going on. And I think that's kind of what we had in Charlottesville and what some other, just teams in Charlottesville have been able to do. Um, just get together, work hard, and accomplish some really great things. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
I love being in Charlottesville, and the people were great all across the board, and they treated me really well, and um, it was a great
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah. So your final 2 years at Davidson, just real quick, are there any moments or any memories that looking back on it really stick out to you from those 2 years?
Well, I tore my labrum my junior fall, so
Okay.
after that summer, come back for fall baseball and dive for a ball and tear my labrum in my arm, so
Hmm.
throwing arm. So that kind of is where the career like took a real turn.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now it's like I just got to get healthy enough to get on the field again and be able to throw. And now when I throw, it hurts. So that was a big like mental toll and a lot of hours in the training room trying to get back on the field. And, it was a long time until I was able to like throw a baseball without pain. So it kind of just like changed my relationship with the game and uh, gave me a new appreciation for like every time I was able to be out there on the field. And like ultimately, kind of, I feel like cost me getting drafted because I always hit well and used to have a great arm, and now all of a sudden I don't have a great
Hmm.
arm and I have an injury history. And yeah, that was a big deterrent to
Yeah.
teams I talked to. But was able to persevere through that and not miss any games and play catcher and third serviceably and hit well and put together some good years. So some good memories and good games played there
Yeah.
that junior and senior year, but definitely that injury my junior year was like, a big point. And,
Yeah. So then your path to signing with the Minnesota Twins as an undrafted free agent in August of 2019. Um, what was that path like? And then as a follow-up, kind of before we get into your journey as a bullpen catcher, what was playing in the minor leagues like? Is it as much of a grind as everyone says it is?
so yeah, that summer after my senior year, waiting on the draft, don't get drafted. And that was a big gut punch. Um, really tough. I wasn't sure what life was going to look like. Was kind of starting to prepare for some other potential jobs and got a call to play in the USPBL,
Mm-hmm.
an independent league that I had never heard of and didn't know how to feel about it. Got encouragement from family to, take the summer and play and enjoy it and see what comes out of it. And so I went into that and was all in on trying to play the best I could and be my best self and, you know, see if I could get signed out of there, and played really well while I was there. Um, the president of the league also ran like a pitching mechanics kind of service, and he kind of like took me under his wing to like help me throw better. And I think that that was like a big piece um, in getting signed with the
Yeah.
Twins. And they also had connections in that league, so scouts got to see me play, and I hit great and saw that my arm was getting better, so got to sign with the Twins that summer, which was like a huge breakthrough and really like motivating to stick with the game and not give it up. And um, so I go down to rookie ball with the Twins that year, and I get to play 5 games. And um, I was there for like 2 weeks and got to kind of go through the everyday of. Um, so we were playing day games there, so you wake
Yeah.
up early and work out, hit in machines, cages, eat good food, and then play a game. And so that was kind of the first taste of like, okay, this is like everyday business, like life. And then a hurricane came through and season ended early. So I went back to Davidson and trained that off season. Um, and then went down early for spring training that year. It was like 3 weeks of early work and then 2 weeks of spring training, and COVID happened. So
Right.
um, yeah, I went home then. But during that 5 weeks, again, it was like the best baseball training I've ever received, because it was wake up early, work, eat a good breakfast. They got everything laid out for you. They're housing you. Good workout, hit, ground balls, throw, like everything you could possibly be doing to develop as a baseball player. So I got to kind of see what that was like,
Yeah.
and like what real training can do for you as a baseball player. And so COVID comes, go home, train the whole year. They're like, don't play independent ball because if you get hurt, it's on you. And then I get released in September. So I got to play 5 games for the Twins, um, which stunk. So then it was back to indie ball the next year.
Yep.
Went and played good in spring training, got traded to another team, the same league, and took me a while to like get in the lineup. Like everywhere, every time you're on a new team, every time you move around, it's like
Yeah.
all about the relationships and the people. And it's tough to like come in as a new person when people have been there for a long time, whatever. But finally got to play and then played well, sent my video out, got signed by the Mariners. Um, so then I went to rookie ball and single A with them. And going to single A was kind of my first experience of like the traditional minor league
Uh-huh.
grind, or just experience that people would kind of associate with the minor leagues. But in my experience, it was really top notch, because it's kind of the same like I talked about in collegiate summer league, where you're playing every day and it's your job,
Yeah.
it's your business to get ready to play, but you have more resources at your disposal. So they're giving you supplements, they're giving you meals, you're making money now, at least a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, so they're writing your workouts for you, they've got your plan. You don't have to do anything outside of that baseball. So I had a really good experience just being with the guys on the team. I made friends with them and had a great group that kind of like got to hang out with outside of the field and do the work with at the field. So I had a great experience kind of throughout the minor leagues, and really loved it because you're playing baseball every day, and the organization is invested in trying to make you as good as you can be. So The meals were pretty good. We always had stuff there for us to help us get better. And yeah, I just wish I would have gotten more time like in those really great training environments because
Yeah.
I really like saw myself develop quickly, and I never got that much time like in those organizations to really like go through those processes because they got that stuff down to a science, like how to develop players, how to get them better. And yeah, played well in my time with the Mariners. And then at the end of the season, found out I was on a 1 year contract and didn't get re-signed. And kind of at that point, I was 25, only had played in single A. So it's basically just like a filler on that
Yeah.
roster to uh, kind of service the team. And like I could play multiple positions. And so
Yeah.
got great experience, but I just didn't have prospect status. And so yeah, I was back to indie ball next year.
Yeah. So then your transition to becoming a major league bullpen catcher, I have a bunch of questions about that. First of all, when did that kind of come to light for you that that was a possibility, and what's the process of kind of signing up to be or trying out to be a bullpen catcher? And then for those that are listening or watching, can you kind of explain what the role is as a bullpen catcher of the organization?
Yeah, so that next year I go to independent ball, and this time I signed with the Atlantic League, which is regarded as like the top independent league. A lot of those guys have played major league ball before, which I thought would be good because I thought I'd be able to go prove myself against like these major league caliber players, but I ended up not really getting that much of an opportunity to play because these guys had more experience than me. So I was there for like 6 weeks and got like 20 something at bats, and was just realizing that it wasn't going to be a good fit, that I was going to need to change teams, or, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that was kind of what I was thinking. I was thinking I needed to change teams. And at that time, I got a call from the contact I had with the Mariners, who I had talked to about getting the minor league job previously. And he was a scout with the major league team. And he asked me about being a bullpen catcher with the major league team. And initially, I wasn't interested because I was trying to further my baseball career.
Yeah.
Uh, I was still trying to make it to the major leagues as a player, but just with kind of where I was at in that season, and um, with my age, and then the more I talked to people, I realized that this experience was really going to be invaluable, um, to where it could set me up to do anything. Um, Having technically been a major league coach.
Yep.
So it was a couple week process of them vetting me and doing some background checks and some calls and talking to managers and pitching coaches and
Yeah.
making sure that they had a good feel for just who I was and that I was somebody that they would want to bring into like their team. And eventually
Yeah.
got the offer and decided to go for it and went out to Seattle. And um, yeah, it was just an amazing experience. I was welcomed in by everybody, and they were really happy that I was there because they had only had one bullpen catcher to that
Yeah.
point, and there had been several situations where multiple guys needed to get warm at the same time, and um, the second string catcher was having to go to the bullpen during
Right.
games. So they were really happy I was there, and had some guys kind of take me under their wing and show me the ropes. And the pitching coaches were really great to me and
Yeah.
helping me understand like what exactly I needed to do as the any other bullpen catcher, helping me know what I needed to do as a bullpen catcher and what like the dynamic of my relationship should be like with other players, and just how I could best do that role. And what to say and what not to say and how to communicate information. And it was really great because they brought us into the catcher meetings that they had with the regular catchers. And so we were all on the same page as far as what we wanted to see from each pitcher and how each pitcher could be the best versions of themselves,
Yep.
and how to communicate that information to them. So I just learned a ton about baseball, seeing it at that level, seeing the way that the players prepare, what goes into it, the daily grind and struggle of the lifestyle and everything that goes into it, and learning about on the organization side too, like what
Yeah.
they're looking at, what goes into like roster configuration, and like how you would set up a bullpen, and then how they're trying to manage each game, and just the way that they're looking at matchups and breaking the game down to science. So it was really great, and I feel like I learned so much, and made great relationships with the people there, and just appreciated that I was able to learn so much. And then on a day-to-day basis, what my day looked like. So I get there, and one of the biggest roles I had that I think people don't uh, know is rubbing up baseballs.
Mm.
So like for every game, there's between like 14 and 18 dozen baseballs that get ready to play, and those balls, they come out brand new, very slick. And so our job as bullpen catchers was to rub mud on those baseballs. And it's
Yeah.
very precise, and it has to be between a certain kind of darkness. And so that was a big piece of the job. So that was like at least an hour every day rubbing
Oh,
up
wow.
baseballs, and then go out and potentially shag for the early work hitters. So that was actually one of my favorite parts of the day. So if we could get done rubbing baseballs early enough, and there were hitters that were hitting on the field, I would go out and shag, and it would basically just be me and maybe like another coach or something out there. So
Oh,
I would
yeah.
like play center field, roam the whole outfield at these like amazing uh, ballparks, and take the views in and get my cardio in running, and just feel athletic and just like
That's gotta be
enjoy
a
being.
dream. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. Just enjoying being out there on the field and running around and tracking balls hit up from major league hitters. And that was great. And then uh, pitchers would go out, so the starters would throw first. So you have to get the bags ready for the starters. So
Yeah.
whatever they want, like little warm up baseballs or little gadgets and stuff, and rosins, any sort of accessories, and then preparing the bags with like the right amount of baseballs, and that those
Yeah.
baseballs are of the right quality for them. So go out, play catch with the starters, um, catch any starter bullpen. They're on like a schedule and stuff.
Yeah.
And then the relievers come out, play catch with the relievers. And then most of those relievers are throwing bullpens daily. So have a few bullpens to catch before the game, come back in. And then I had a little time. So I could either hit a workout or just get some food, hang out, do a crossword or something, and then get ready for game. So that's the bullpen early. And normally the other bullpen catcher who was more tenured would throw with the starter right before the game,
Yeah.
get him ready, and then the catcher for the game would come in and finish him off in the bullpen. And yeah, I would just hang out, get ready for the game, make sure everything down there looked good, make sure it was clean, make sure the gum and the seeds and whatever everybody wanted was set up right, the towels, and then just be there and be ready, because you don't know whether
Yeah.
catcher might ask you to hop in at the end, or you might need to throw a little bit with this guy, or might need to do this, might need to set this thing up. So you're basically
Yeah.
just like down there ready to like address any needs that anybody in the bullpen might have. And then the game starts, and throw with the outfielder that you're closest to. So in Seattle it was the left fielder. Throw with him between innings,
Yeah.
and then you're just ready. So when that phone rings, it's go time. So you're just like sitting there and you're watching the game, and they got an iPad down there, so you could see like exactly where every pitch is, and you like kind of analyzing like how the pitcher's doing, like thinking about the strategy that have been
That's
talked about
fascinating.
before the
That's really
game.
cool. Yeah.
There's so much that goes into it that like people don't understand. Like it really is science. So they know exactly like which pitches they want to see thrown in which counts against which hitters. And then it's all about like how can you execute that as a pitcher, and then as a catcher, how can you set that pitcher up to execute that like as much as possible. So the big thing as a bullpen catcher is where you set your glove, like where the target is for the pitcher. So that was a big thing that for every pitch that they wanted to throw, fastball, slider, changeup, whatever, like there
Yeah.
was a spot I needed to put my mitt to like give them the best chance to throw that pitch,
Yeah.
the way that the organization wanted to see it thrown. So we'd just be down there and watching how he's doing and watching how the game's going, and you can kind of get a sense for like when that phone's gonna ring, and then when it does, it's go time. So they'll say whichever pitcher is it's time their time to get ready.
Yeah.
Um, and so, you know, throw the mask on, get back there, catch them. And again, we had two bullpen catchers, so it was kind of nice that, we could share that load. And most of the time, like he would take the first guy, and then I would take the second guy, and we would kind of alternate.
Yeah.
And also, he spoke Spanish and was a Latin uh, guy, so the Latin players kind of like migrated with him, and then the
For sure.
I would work a lot with, and it was just a
Yeah.
really great dynamic, and we could get those guys ready and try to get them feeling confident and encourage them that they were looking good and that their stuff was ready, and give them everything needed to feel good to go, and then watch them go out there and have success, and then feel like you played some small part in getting them ready to have the bullpen and and it was really
Yeah.
something that I feel like you're doing the job as well as like you can, and uh, setting them up to have success, and yeah, just enjoying playing and playing well. And that team, so we were 10 games under 500 when I came at the very end of May, and then we ended up 18 games over 500 at the end of the season, and first playoff appearance in 21 years for the Mariners, and best
Yeah.
bullpen in baseball, and named the best organization in baseball that year. So it was just really great to see like not only like major league life, but then like it done at like the highest level, and to
Wow.
contribute to that too, and to try to like help build a culture um, of like doing everything the best you can, and bring the very guys. I think so much of baseball, kind of like I mentioned with that Davidson run, is just kind of like the
Yeah.
vibes on the team, right? Like how's everybody feeling? Is everybody like happy? Is everybody like mentally in a good state? So just trying to be there, trying to relate to the younger guys, and trying to learn everything I can from the older guys, and trying to be positive energy, and let them know that I was there for them to do everything that I could to help them be the best that they could. Um, I think they appreciated that. I think that,
Yeah.
played some part in our team success.
Yeah. No, that's really cool because I think that this is kind of what we're trying to highlight on this show too throughout these last couple months and going forward is that, no matter how you make your impact, you can make an impact on the sport that you love and continue to be passionate about baseball or about basketball if that's your thing, or about football or lacrosse or whatever sport that someone is interested in. There is a way that they can contribute and they can fulfill their lifelong dream of being able to, be connected to that sport in their life. And I think that certainly a bullpen catcher isn't everyone's everyday thought of what being a part of a major league organization is like. But I think that you've kind of given an inside process of just how important being a bullpen catcher is. And I could obviously ask you about it for days, but I know we're pressed for time here. So I kind of want to move on to your experience getting into the Savannah Bananas. So I read a little bit about on Instagram, sort of you wanting to be able to share your talents off the field with the world, still contribute to a winning team on the field. So why was the decision to look elsewhere after the Mariners, and sort of when did that decision come?
Yeah, so really going into the job, I knew that I wasn't done playing, and I think that that was kind of the contingency that like I gave myself when I accepted the job was that okay, I'm gonna do this because it makes sense for a lot of reasons, career-wise, and
Yeah.
it's just really invaluable experience. But I just couldn't be done playing baseball. I took that job in 2022, and in 2021, I'd hit 353 uh, across the minor leagues, playing in single A, hitting
Yeah.
100-mile-an-hour pitchers, guys that had huge prospect status. And I just seen it and I knew that I could play. I knew that I could hit. I'd always had a track record as a hitter. And I just wasn't ready to be done really. And I saw that I wasn't getting the opportunities that I wanted at 22 that year. So
Yeah.
it made sense for me to do that. But I told them coming in, like, I still view myself as a player, and I hope you'll evaluate me as a player and my merit and like how I stack up with these guys, and like watch the way I'm able to catch them and see that I can handle this pitching at this level and that
Mm-hmm.
I have a track record of success in the minors and across my career. And so that experience, seeing Major League life every day, gave me a lot of confidence that I was able to see myself at that level, that it wasn't that unobtainable, that
Yeah.
these guys that are here just guys, and that they're human, and that maybe one day that would be obtainable for me too. um and so after the season, um I asked the organization, do you see any interest in me as a player? And like while I was there, I was trying to like pitch, being a player coach in
Yeah.
lower levels in minor leagues, or let me go mentor some of these young players that you have. Like we had just drafted a catcher that year, straight out of high school, 18-year-old kid. I was like, let me
Uh-huh.
go be this guy's mentor. Like let me put my hands on him, give him the experience that like I had here, and let me keep playing. Like let me get at bats. And they just said that they didn't see a fit with me as a player, but they wanted me to keep bullpen catching. And um, I knew that I just had to play somewhere, even if, I didn't know what shape that was going to take, but I just knew I wasn't at peace with being done playing. And I started talking to some friends. So I had played with the Bananas for uh, like a 5 6 week tour before I played independent ball in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
So I played banana ball, and I saw the crowds, and I saw that we were selling out minor league stadiums. And I only played like eight to 10 games or something with them. And just knew that they were onto something cool,
Yep.
and that I like playing in front of people. And so that next off season, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. I talked to my friend who tells me he just finished playing independent ball, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm going to do Bananas full time." Told me what they were paying, and that introduced. I was like, "Oh wow, they're serious about this." Uh, and I had talked to owners previously too that kind of had laid out the vision for me, about where they saw it going. And our owners, they dream big, and had this amazing vision for where it was going. And I didn't necessarily see it at the time. And then the more I kept thinking about it, I was like, this is how I play and make some money and make a career at this.
Yeah.
Because, you could play independent ball or even minor league ball your entire life and never really have anything come out of that.
Right.
And I actually had a guy in the bullpen tell me that when I was there, because they found out that I played with the Bananas briefly, and a couple of the guys were really interested in it and thought it was cool. And One of the guys told me, he was like, dude, even if you get picked back up in the minor leagues, like it might take you 5, 6 years. Like there are guys that play their whole lives and are great players and never get that opportunity. Like
Right.
you're older now, Bananas are catching fire. Like if you can be a part of that, like you should be. And I was like, oh, interesting perspective from a guy that's now playing Major League Baseball. Um, but you also get to see just the ups and downs of, so many guys get to be there briefly and they get sent back down, they get optioned, they get released,
Yeah.
they go to different teams, they have to go play international. Just like a very, inconsistent, unstable life. If you're not like one of the best players in the world. And so I just made a decision, talked to some of the coaches going into that year. I was just like, I'm ready to go all in on this and keep working as hard as I can to be the best baseball player possible. And I felt like that still aligned with like my mission, and that, if I went and tore the world on fire and was hitting 500-foot bombs, like, that major league chance like may still be there. Like,
Yeah.
it just felt like it was all about me trying to become the best athlete that I could. Um, and then playing the games, like the games were extremely competitive with the Bananas, and I loved
Yeah.
that. I loved it. Um, it still felt like I was out there competing, and I had that like drive to win, and still like I hadn't had really previously on since that 2017 year where we were trying to make the World Series. And because every game the crowd is there, and it's probably got people's
Hmm.
first game or only game, and they want to see the Bananas win, and they assembled a really good team on the other side, and they wanted to win, they wanted to take the spotlight. So it felt like every game really really mattered. And it just created a really amazing environment to play in. And so yeah, I just kind of like fell in love with playing for the Bananas and like representing them and representing the fans and trying to be my best for them and put out the best version of myself and the Bananas possible. And yeah, it's been a great experience getting to play. Baseball, it feels like high stakes, and ultimately everybody's happy at the end too, because they had a great show and had a good entertaining experience. And then we're getting to play baseball and create some cool moments and get good highlights and stuff out of it, and
Yeah.
getting to like grow stuff outside of a baseball player, doing acting and entertaining things. And now I see like possibilities for myself that like I never would have imagined, like outside of baseball too. Like the potential for what this could turn into, it feels like unlimited. So I'm just like grateful to be a part of it, and I want to do my job the best I can and continue to grow in all those different aspects, and keep having fun and just keep playing the game ultimately, because that's what motivates me. And I just love playing, and this gives me that platform to do it.
Man, that's awesome. That's really cool to hear. How pivotal the Bananas can be, not just in showing other people about the joy of the game of baseball, like we were talking about before, but kind of from a player perspective too. How it does wonders, just boosting your love of baseball again. Really reinforcing what you want. And I know that right now you're on a tour of major league stadiums in America. And so for maybe people who haven't seen the Bananas on social media, or for people who are unfamiliar with what you all do, just really quickly, 10, 15 seconds, can you explain, how would you describe what the Bananas are?
Yeah, I like to say the Bananas are kind of like a cross between a concert, like a theatrical play, a baseball game, and like a movie. So you kind of have all these different elements of entertainment going at the same time, where the players are competing really hard to win, but then if they get hit by a pitch, they're going to go into some theatrical piece that's already been planned, or
Yeah.
they're going to do a theatrical walk up to the plate. We're going to have like music going the entire game, that people are interacting with. You're going to see people dancing on the field and then making great plays. And you really they change your perspective to where you realize when you're on the field, you're an entertainer, and that sports are ultimately entertainment for people.
Mm-hmm.
So the goal is to get people to keep watching. So anything you can do on the field to catch an eye or to take full advantage of that spotlight that's out there,
Yep.
um, do it. So it really opens the doors to like what's possible to do on a baseball field. And we've seen some like amazing plays out of our infielders dribbling the ball behind their backs and acting like it's a basketball out there and doing things with a baseball that nobody's ever done before. And so that's the part that I think is really cool too, is that um, it's still baseball, but it's like baseball dressed up,
Yep.
right? So it's got that for people that really love baseball. There's still really cool things happening, and then people that don't love baseball, they see this and they're like, "Oh wow, like this is different. This is entertaining."
Yeah, man, that's super interesting. Got a couple quick ones here before I let you go about your day. Do you have a favorite major league stadium that you got to experience?
Well, as a banana, we've only played in the Houston Astros right now. We got 5 other major league stadiums coming up. When I was with the bullpen catching job, I loved T-Mobile, Seattle's home ballpark, which is
Uh-huh.
beautiful. We got the water and everything. The experience at Yankee Stadium was pretty unmatched as far as like the energy from the crowd and the way that you got treated in the clubhouse and just the history with the Yankees. That felt really special. But also my first game was at Camden Yards with the Orioles, and that was really cool. Just another historic ballpark and
Yeah.
beautiful, and those really stood out to me.
Yeah. That's really cool. So what's your jersey number and is there a reason behind it?
Yeah, so I wear number 3 with the Bananas. Kind of some reasons behind it. One, it was available. Um,
That's always a good
and
one.
it, yeah, I wanted to get like a single digit number. Also, so my first name starts with the E, and I could kind of see a potential logo where I had like the
Mm.
E and a J and then like a 3, so it would be like symmetrical.
Oh yeah.
And so now when I sign autographs and everything, that's how I sign it, EJ3, and the E and the 3 kind of loop together almost. And the year before with Bananas, I had worn 21. So 2 plus 1's 3. I think 3 is a good number too. It's like a strong geometrical number and stuff. So that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah. If they made a movie about Eric Jones Jr.'s life, or if they made a movie about the Tom Sox in 2017 or the Davidson Wildcats in 2017, who's the actor in the world that you'd want to play you?
Well, I would be interested in playing myself, really.
Really?
Yeah, they get us into so much uh theater and acting and shooting clips and shooting little short scenes. And I even got a teammate that's trying to put together like a longer piece movie now. Um, I definitely like myself in
Man.
some capacity, like acting or something like that. But maybe like a younger Brad Pitt or something like that. Um, I
Yeah.
mean, like Kevin Costner back in the day too would be sweet, just because he does the baseball movies and stuff. But
Yeah, both of them has experience in baseball movies, but those are two of the greats. Um, if you could only listen to one artist for the rest of your life, who would it be?
ooh, tough. Well, like last year, I was listening to Morgan Wallen a lot. I just like the sound of his music.
Yeah.
Um, but I just been listening to like easy beats. Like I've
Yep.
been listening to like lo-fi stuff or like reggae stuff or like relaxing sounds. Um, but I only pick one. I guess, yeah, I guess I'll go Morgan Wallen right
That's not a
now.
bad answer. All right, last question. I'll end it with this. The same question I ask every guest on this show, and that is what is one great piece of advice that someone has given you and you would like to share with the world? It can be about baseball. It can be about singing with the Bananas. It can be about cooking. It can be whatever you want. What would you like to share with the people?
Yeah, I would say just, you're capable of making whatever you want in life happen. And that like the power of prayer is real. And that when you pray for things and when you focus on whatever you want as your priority, that, life has a way of either making those things happen or putting you in a place that you're really happy with and that you didn't foresee coming. And that when you can align your values with your goals, then really special things happen. And I just feel really like blessed with life and the people that I have in my life. And I feel like it's all a function of the ups and downs of my entire career and life, and that everything happens for a reason, and that I'm where I'm supposed to be, and feel fulfilled. And I think that other people can do that too if they pray for the things that they want, and try to live a life that they'd be proud of, and that feels right, and just treat other people well, and good things will come back to you ultimately.
Man, that's awesome. It's really great to hear. I think that it's been a lot of fun for me to be able to tell your story. It's the epitome of what we try to project on the show, unique pathways. And it's really cool to just be able to hear about and have you talk about sort of how you're able to impact the baseball scene in many, many different ways. So I really, once again, appreciate you for taking the time. And for any viewers or watchers that want to know a little bit more about Eric, he's pretty active on social media now with the Bananas. So if you want to go ahead real quick, plug some of your videos, plug the tour if you want to.
Yeah. For sure. It's Eric Jones Jr. _ on Instagram and TikTok, but Instagram's definitely the main focus right now. But they're trying to they encourage us to be active on social media with the Bananas, like for ourselves and for the brand of the Bananas. So been trying to take some strides there, and putting together quality content that can relay my message and try to get good things across to other people, and relate to other people. And so it's there, Eric Jones Jr. And we'll have more things coming. And reach out to me and ask me questions. And
I assume if someone's watching this and they want to see the Bananas on tour, they could check out the website, anything like that.
Yep, all of our games are on YouTube, Savannah Bananas YouTube, so you can watch every game that we've played before and watch the upcoming games, and then try to get out to a game and experience it for yourself, because it's great watching online, but the in-person experience is really what makes Banana special.
Man, all right, Eric Jones, I really, really appreciate your time once again. And to everyone listening and watching, thank you so much for tuning into Unique Pathways presented by H3 Sports. Just as a reminder, please like, subscribe, comment, rate, review, thumbs up, all those fun things. It really helps us out, and means a lot when you do so. So really appreciate you watching and listening as always. And Eric, thanks again for taking some time out of your busy, busy day to come on the show.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. Did a great job telling my story, and just appreciated being on, and hope everyone listening has a great day.
Man, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Unique Pathways is sponsored by Piedmont Realty Holdings, building better together. Bellaterra Landscaping and Hardscaping Services. ECS Prosthetics, we come to you. Jeff Burton Consulting, charting your path to a successful outcome. Major League Mindset, results on and off the field. Blue Sky Property Management, own your experience. BSN Sports, the heart of the game. And by Croze Sports, community, family, and sports.